Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and I'm back to my normal voice, hopefully. And today I have with me Ben Jennings, Chief Revenue Officer at Embroker. Ben, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Excellent. How you doing, Tony?
Fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. Such a pleasure. And Embroker has been around for a good while. And you guys are pretty big. So for me, it's really exciting to get you on the show. I often do like much smaller insurtechs. So it looks like on LinkedIn that you yourself are in San Francisco. So are you currently in San Francisco?
Yeah. So we're headquartered in San Francisco. We've been here since the beginning. Founded in 2015, and so we've been around the block a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I used to live in Berkeley.
Okay.
I love the Bay. Love the Bay. So we're recording on September 29th while Florida is immersed in a hurricane. So San Francisco, you're about to go into the weird little October summer, basically. So I'm assuming right now it's absolutely gorgeous in San Francisco.
It is. It's incredible, and this is it's one of the most beautiful cities in the country,
Without question,
without any doubt.
In fact, in my opinion, the most beautiful city in the U.S., the most European city in the U.S. I mean, it has its problems for sure. Cost of living being the one that caused us to leave, but it's just such a beautiful city. By the way, I am going to be in San Francisco for CPCU Into Risk annual meeting, which I never miss. So I might reach out and see if we can grab coffee or something.
Yeah, please do. Happy to.
Awesome. So we always give the guests the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is Embroker?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to maybe set the stage on insurtech in general, right? I think that there's a lot of folks out there that have thrown their hat into the insurtech bucket because that's kind of the cool thing to say right now. It's a little like everyone in the world saying they were in the cloud because they had a website, or that they were SaaS because they changed their comp models or whatever it was. We are truly born as an insurtech. Genuinely, this organization is split squarely down the middle with insurance professionals and experts and technology executives and experts. And really, the intent from the beginning has been, an acknowledgement of the complexity of commercial insurance purchasing. Everything from the friction involved to the paper transfers involved to the time it takes to actually get anything accomplished that's meaningful. And so our CEO really started the company to decomplexify and simplify that problem. And so, Embroker is meant to be a radically simple destination for industry tailored commercial insurance. So if I am a commercial insurance consumer, I should be able to come to Embroker's platform, find the vertical that I most closely fit in, whether that be technology, cannabis, law, etc., and have one single destination that I know that I can get everything that I need to solve my risk profile, and that it's the most strategically recommended. We are by no means a marketplace. I think that kind of strips the value out of the strategic advisory portion of what a broker should be doing, frankly. And so we've tried to actually bake that strategic advisory knowledge into our technology, so that when you come as a law firm or a venture-backed technology company or a cannabis dispensary and you hit one of our bundled solutions, you're getting the best advice that's embedded in the technology and are able to get everything you need in a one-stop shop.
Okay, you said a lot of things that I really liked, but I want to start with the very first part, with the what is an insurtech?
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. In my definition of insurtech, I go by the very broadest definition, because from my perspective as a observer of the space, and as a blogger and podcaster, and recruiter within the space. The broadest definition is the one that works best for me, which is basically anybody that is serving the insurance ecosystem in any way, shape, or form that is a technology startup first, right? You don't have to be risk carrying, you don't have to be anything, but yes, you are correct. A lot of insurtechs today, a lot of the early ones were full stack carriers like Hippo, Lemonade, Root, and a lot of the ones today do a tiny little part, right? Like sell one tiny little tool that really improves one piece of the puzzle. And also there's a lot of them that are little more than a deck for the investors and a nice UI, and like the rest hasn't been built yet, right? And I do bring them on the podcast at that level because sometimes I do. Okay, so you guys are truly born as an insurtech, absolutely.
Yeah,
I love the.
I
Go ahead.
I might say though, so I guess taking great pride in the fact that we are very much a leaning forward technology company
Mhm.
that is in the insurance space. I probably would call into question like referring to like Salesforce, who is an excellent company as an insurtech.
True.
They have an insurance vertical. They're very good at it. They have incredibly talented people trying to solve the problems in the insurance industry,
Mhm.
but they are not, I mean, to my mind, they are a
No,
provider of solutions, not necessarily an
you
insurtech.
you are 100% correct. In fact, every once in a while, I bring in a guest kind of like that
Yeah.
where they're a large company that does services for a whole bunch of industries, and the one person that sells that service into insurance is the one that comes on the show. And yeah, they're absolutely not an insurtech. 100% correct.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's also an interesting nuance because I think that there's folks. I mean, you said it best, right? I mean, I think that there's folks that are, let's say they're an MGA or they're a brokerage, very traditional model, and they've got a website, and now they're an insurtech, and that is not an insurtech. I mean, and that's not meant to diminish what the
mm,
value they're providing to the space, but it's I think it's important relative to us
absolutely.
who are passionate about providing the benefits of technology to a commercial buyer. I think from our perspective, there's a nuance there and it's an important one.
Yeah.
And if I'm a VC looking to put money into the space, you want to drill in really hard about the quality of their technology and what value that technology is truly bringing to a commercial insurance buyer.
100%. The MGA space is an interesting one because so many tech first MGAs have been born in the last few years, but at the same time, so many traditional MGAs are kind of putting an insurtech mask on, and some of them are successfully bringing in new technology, some of them are not. So yeah, it's a very messy space for sure. I really like the fact that you actually, one of the first things you said is that you're squarely divided between the insurance side and the tech side, because I think I'm a big believer in what I coined the Abel Travis rule, which is that the insurtechs that will be successful are the ones that have that split, where the word that respect the fact that the word insurtech is half insurance, half technology. And I truly believe, and when people call me for career advice, and I try not to do investment advice, but when they call me for career advice and they say I want to go to an insurtech, which ones are going to be successful? I say I don't know, but the ones that will be successful, I think, will be the ones that at every level, from the very top all the way through the organization, have a good split between insurance and technology.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that it's in from you have an interesting vantage point because I think from my perspective, and look, my background is 30 plus years of enterprise technology sales, at a very very high level for both public and private companies, and I will tell you, I think the thing that makes it magical and where your customers truly feel the value of that technology is when the insurance professionals that you have on board came from a space and have a perspective of sort of radical innovation of an old school way of doing things. I think there are people that moved into insurtech because it was sexy, if you can call insurance sexy at all.
Yes,
But
yes, you
but
can.
sadly we do. But But really, genuinely, if you have folks that embrace this idea of radical transformation and innovation and bringing the benefits of technology to the end customer, that's super exciting. And so when you look at like our profile of insurance professionals, they have one thing in common: they believed fundamentally that there was a better way to do it. And so you combine that with rock star technology folks, and then have this middle ground where there's translation of great idea between the two. That's where the magic happens, right? And that's where the customer feels it. And so that's how we've tried to build our organization, and it is not easy at all.
If you get that mix right, that paragraph you just described, if you get that mix right, you can't help but be fantastic. Quite simply, right? Getting it right is hard, but the strategy that you just described is perfect. Yeah, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, to me, like our best weather vane is our customers. Embroker runs like north of 70 on our NPS scores. And we have absolutely ridiculously loyal customers who love the service we provide. And to us, if our customers are saying that, that's good enough for us. I mean, that is like all we need to hear, is that they're happy with the way that they bought the product, they understood the product, they use it, and they feel good about the process of engaging with us as a provider. That's all we need. I mean, we're good with that.
Fantastic. I really loved the radically simple part. So, and also, but it's a separate point. I also love the fact that you're not a marketplace. So out of the first insurtech players, many of them were either a marketplace or a comparison engine, completely price based. And insurance is not a commodity. Even auto insurance is not a commodity. It's sold like a commodity. That's our fault, but it's not a commodity. It really is about the coverages that you get. So the fact that your platform really advises on what businesses need, that's exactly what I love. And also, insurance is so freaking complicated, and it's hard. That like getting the making the application easy, going from 100 questions to 3 questions, that's just tech. We like that part is easy, but ultimately what you're buying is a contract that is complicated. So making that radically simple, beautiful. So I love that you guys are doing that. I'd love to learn more about that piece. How do you make the insurance buying process simple yet effective?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's nothing simple about insurance, conceptually, right? I mean, if you want to be kind of insulting, you can basically boil it down to, I mean, effectively, it's a probability equation, right? You've got a category of risk. There's a probability it's going to happen. You feel like there's these dynamics. I lay a price on that risk profile. I'm gambling effectively. It's like betting on the house. I add some margin on top of it and spit out a price, and that's what you're getting. That's like that's a dinosaur way of thinking about it. The way, I mean, at the end of the day, like brokers have the right to be mildly insulted by like a marketplace type mentality in insurtech, because it devalues what they're doing, which is like a good broker, and there are many. A good broker is looking at your risk profile and saying like, hey, here is the combination of products that I would assemble to properly cover your risk, and frankly enable you to run your business without like the thought that you're going to go out of business. Like, we fundamentally believe that no good company should fail, and particularly based on an insurance risk. That's ridiculous. That's usually a broker failing or a company just like gambling and losing. And so, we wanted to create a system by which everything from the vocabulary of insurance to the buying process, to the complexity of the waiting and time it takes to procure, to understanding how you renew it. Like, what happens when you need it? Like, that's when the rubber really hits the road. And so, we have always strived to, one, strip out the language, right? Like, if I'm a venture-backed startup, what do I care about? I took my A round, my VC basically said I had to buy D&O. I don't really care. My goal is to build software or hardware, put it into the marketplace, and gain market share, not worry about my insurance profile. I'm checking a box as far as like, what my term sheet said. So our goal is, in that circumstance, not just to sell them 800 different things. If I'm if you go to buy a laptop on Amazon, there's 1,000 solutions. And unless you're an expert, you really aren't going to be able to pick the right one for your needs. What does Dell do, right? You go to Dell and you say, hey, Tony, like, what are you going to use it for? Do you travel? Do you need a big screen? Do you need a small screen? Do you need more memory? And it's going to profile your needs based on how you plan to use that laptop, right? Embroker is similar in that we want to actually understand you as a business, have you come in, and by the way, vertically focused, right? So we're not trying to boil the ocean. We're trying to be excellent at the verticals we support. Those verticals are able to come to us, and based on a series of questions that are smart but simple to understand for the average non-insurance expert, to populate that information and get not just any coverage, or even like, I don't want to give them like, hey, here's gold, silver, platinum, because you're still guessing. What are they going to do? They're going to pick the one in the middle. That may or may not be the right recommended choice for them. So our goal is to truly serve them up the best combination. So effectively embedding that incredibly strategic knowledge of a broker into the advisory services of our technology, and then render that in a packaged solution so that they can then go on and run their business without having to be an insurance expert. That's the intent. So it is intended to be radically simple for somebody who is not, like you, that knows insurance incredibly well.
Clearly, I've been muted, but I've been coughing my lungs out. So my apologies on that.
Not at all.
Okay. Part of it is I'm moved by what you're saying. No, I 370 episodes. I rarely remember one that so well defines what the company's doing. So why I agree with it with the I like that it's not a marketplace, but why not a marketplace?
Ultimately it still causes you to have to make the decision, right? So if I'm a cannabis dispensary, I'm incredibly innovative, I'm disruptive, I'm like dealing with 800 different kinds of like dynamics in my business, federal legalization, statewide like differences, growing my space, security, all kinds of things that make it hard for me to do business. The last thing that I want to do is have to go choose a set of products that I literally don't know much about. And so if I give you like 20 different BOPs or workers' comp products, right? How am I possibly, from an uneducated buyer position, how am I supposed to distill down which workers' comp products that I'm supposed to buy? Like, you basically took all of the value of like a traditional broker or advisor out of the equation. Now you're guessing again. And so if you're somebody who, like, you have a CFO who has an insurance background that knows exactly what they're looking for, maybe they already purchased insurance multiple times before, maybe they're in a position to make that choice. But if I'm a young emerging company moving fast, maybe let's say I'm a 1 or 2 person law firm, that's not my expertise. I need it served up to me in a way that's applicable for us. Now, I think the thing that's important about Embroker is like that solution that is presented to you, like what we serve up to you is based on how you are answering questions, all of the inputs that you're providing, right? And we're trying to strip out, we don't want this to be 800 questions. That's a nightmare for a young company that's trying to move fast, right? Or even like a pre-IPO company that's like, has a lot of big, hairy things on their plate. We are trying to make that an easy process where you fill out the application. If you need help, we have advisors on staff that can help you at any time. That can be a phone call, that can be via Drift, that can be via any number of different things. So we have that advisory service if you need it. But our belief, and this is why I think the nuance of InsurTech is important. We're not trying to like put brokers out of business. That's crazy. What we're trying to do is actually make it really easy for an end commercial consumer to get access to all of that knowledge, but do it in a way that leverages technology so they can move faster and strips all the friction out of that engagement. Which sounds super easy, but it's taken 7 years and is really darn hard.
Okay. Okay. ultimately at the end of the game, so you're not a marketplace.
Yep.
You're in one way or another the most digital broker in the US. So I don't know if you do international, but in the US. Um, but so ultimately you're a broker. So how many carriers, which carriers, tell me about the carrier relationships. Who ends up insuring my business when I go through Embroker?
Yeah, so it's a spectacular question because I think that's the other nuance of what we're seeing in the industry. I just got back from ITC, wonderful show. It was great to see so many colleagues and customers and folks in the space, and I thought it was incredibly well put on. But one of the themes was that
Did you
there you
happen to
go.
see me?
I did. I did
Nice to
see
meet you. I remember very
exactly.
little from how little sleep I got. Very
Yeah,
nice to have met
exactly.
you.
Yeah, we were by the puppies. So but look, I mean, great show, right? But I think that there was kind of this looming cloud over the space where people are pulling product out of the market. They're based on their structure that they're in, whether they're an MGA exclusively or a broker exclusively, they have their own challenges and dynamics. I think, we as an organization saw that. Our CEO was had the foresight to build the business in such a way where we're not any one thing. So we have a broker structure. I have incredible advisors who have expertise in technology, aerospace, aviation, HOAs, cannabis, that are there to support you if you need that type of engagement. We have an MGA structure that allows us to bring products to market in a very quick turnaround. We also have a carrier structure that allows us to build our own products. And so if you think about that from a kind of future proofing, I hate that term, but like future proofing how we go to market and how we build products, it doesn't really matter what flows at us. We're able to build product that is insulated from any one of those mechanisms blowing up. So if I'm only a brokerage and that space implodes, like, I'm kind of hosed. We're not. And so that, that I think that is like one hugely advantageous in how we create our bundled products and the integrity of them. Obviously, all of our products are backed by the best partners that there are. So whether we do that in a pure partnership way or through a carrier relationship, which we have plenty of amazing ones, or through our own carrier structure, that's kind of the game. And so what we want, again, we're always oriented around the customer and what is best for them, not what's best for us. And so we feel that with that construction in our kind of risk structure, we're able to best support them with the best possible solution that insulates them against kind of anything that would come down the pike.
Okay. Very interesting comments on ITC. Yeah, this was a very different year at ITC because from ITC 2021, the post-COVID return with still a limited crowd, with the Brits not being able to come into the country and all the other crazy stuff, with some masks, with having to take a COVID test before you show up. Like, it was a very different show from this year where we're all back. 9,000 people, 10,000 people, arguably the largest conference in insurance. RIMS is somewhat similar, but hopefully next year will be bigger. But at the same time, several downsizings in the last few weeks. Those people are finding jobs pretty quickly, so it's fine. It's become a lot harder to raise money. It's become reinsurance is hardening up fast. Potential recession, labor shortage, just a lot of things happening affecting the. I think we in the overall insurtech space, it feels like we've lost our innocence over the last year, right? We were like living in this beautiful sunshines and rainbows. Everything is possible, and all of a sudden, the rubber hit the road, and like, oh, and I forgot, and the few that IPO'd too early Everybody knows their names. They're like 80 or 90% down on stock price. And I don't care about insurance as investments, but anyway, lots of challenges in the
Yeah.
insurance tech space today.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting that though I think it is again, I think it's actually ultimately better for the consumer and for the companies that are well run. I think they will come out much stronger. I think there's always kind of a, you know, there's a thinning of the herd a little bit, right? There were a lot of folks that were early adopters that either went out in a SPAC model, and we've seen how that goes, or couldn't raise. We raised last year a very large C with some amazing partners, and so we feel very, very fortunate to not have that looming over us as we move forward. But look, good businesses will continue to thrive. Good businesses will continue to raise money. Good businesses will continue to like roll out new product and innovate and do new things. And that's just the reality of it. I think that we saw this with the .com implosion, which I lived through. We saw this through the advent of folks moving from on-prem to the cloud in traditional technologies. Well-run companies manage to survive, and that's, I think, an interesting thing. The other dynamic that I think is fascinating is, you get a traditional analyst who's used to covering technology companies that for the first year doesn't truly understand the insure tech space. And so they're looking at premium growth, and they're looking at like, wow, you acquired all these customers and all that. Now they're like, hold on a second. This feels like a distribution model. There's very low margins, high turnover, high churn. I'm going to start looking at your profitability as much as your growth, because I need to see if you're a good business or not. And so we have like a fairly well-educated like analyst community, a very well-educated investment community, plus comparables to see what good looks like and what it doesn't look like. And so, when you look at that landscape, certainly if you have a shaky business model, or you're not necessarily like rock solid on like how you spend money or your fiscal responsibility or what it might be, I mean, you deserve what you get. I mean, that's kind of it's unfortunate, but we err on the side of what the customers are asking for and try to provide them with really difficult strategic solutions versus, premium at all costs. Like, that's not our game.
So we've been chatting for about 30 minutes. And it's been a fantastic conversation. We have not touched, because my fault, I have not asked. We have not touched on brokers, on how you guys partner with brokers, which is probably the reason you came on the show. So tell me about that. So on the website, the very second tab says for brokers, and it talks about partnering. How does Embroker partner with other agents and brokers in our industry?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, obviously we have an amazing in-house team. So, just like the way that we structured our risk management, we obviously have multiple routes to market. So I would bucket them kind of into four main categories. So obviously we have incredible people in-house that are typically organized in a vertical way, whether that be technology or cannabis or law or whatever it might be, to directly support customers that are looking to buy from us. We also have our platform, right, which is the whole game. And so, on Sunday morning, Tony's sitting around and he just raised his A round and he needs D&O because his VC told him he had to. He can log on to Embroker. He can build an account. He can, go all the way quote to bind without ever talking to a human and be good to go Sunday morning without ever talking to anybody, right? So there's direct, there's fully automated, and then obviously we support a very, very large, robust channel, both wholesale and retail. And so we're super broker friendly. We want brokers to come to Embroker. We've set up a unique login for them. They're able to come and actually run that same quote to bind process, with assistance if necessary, have a dedicated team to support them. But, they're able to come in and get these same tailored, vertical, simple, bundled product for their customer super fast. And our turnaround times are just better. We also believe that kind of the integrity of our products is like rock solid. And so, we take great pride in not only pushing out great products, but, we try to, again, strip that friction out and make it easy for them too.
Okay, so ultimately, you're both a broker and a digital first MGA.
Absolutely. Yeah, correct.
Perfect, perfect. Then are there any for brokers that want to partner with you, want to get access to the platform, are there any production requirements, or is it quite simply just like E&O insurance, like those kind of compliance
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
license?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you kind of I mean, we obviously have a process where we onboard each and every broker. We partner with some of the best wholesalers in the country, and have a mechanism to do that. We make it again very easy for them to work with us. The goal is not to make their life harder. They have lots and lots of choices, and I think this speaks to it. Right? Everyone's got a portal. Everyone's got some online quote tool. And so to actually make it compelling for a broker to engage with yet another technology, it's got to be easy. They've got to get good product. They have to know if they actually put a quote together and put it in front of a customer, they're going to win. And that's what we try to accomplish. Now, that does not mean we're like the cheapest. Like that, I would never want anyone to think that, because that's not our goal, right? I'm not going to, like, why would I do that? That doesn't really make sense. Like, we will be the best, but I don't need to be the cheapest.
Perfect, perfect. uh yeah, I it is so rare in our industry that people, especially on the growth side, which ultimately means business development slash sales, right? Just at a higher level. It's so rare to get people in our industry focusing on not price, rather on doing things right. Thank you so much, Ben. It's been awesome. It's been super interesting. I've been aware of Embroker for a long time because you guys have been around for a long time and you guys are big. But it's been great to take a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. And by the way, I've tried to do this a few times during the show. Uh, I actually got a quote for my own little recruiting business while we were chatting. I found the process to be pretty simple. Mine is a startup that started this year, so I know it's a little bit harder to underwrite, so I couldn't get through all the way through, but
Yep.
we'll see how it goes. If it goes well, I might end up being a customer.
Yeah.
But
Perfect.
I did
Happy to
find
help.
the process to be fantastic. So thank you so much for your time. When this goes live, I will tag both you and Embroker
Great.
on LinkedIn, and I look forward to see Embroker continue to grow. Uh, and if there's ever like a new product or something, I'm happy to have you come in to tell the audience about it.
Yeah, no, we were privileged to launch 3 new products at ITC, which was wonderful.
Oh,
Product for cannabis, yeah,
okay, cannabis.
keepers,
Uh-huh.
cannabis dispensary product, a VCAP product. We're very closely aligned with the venture community, as you can imagine, and then a key person product, which is very complementary to all of our bundles, as you would imagine. So, we're going to keep innovating and rolling out new product and lean into the tech and keep it down, keep it
Okay.
going.
So cannabis huge right now, and
Huge.
it's going to be legal in every state in a few years.
Certainly hope so.
Uh, and insurance is definitely lining up to be there for that. The key person, super important, super important. Uh, the VCAP one, I'm not familiar with. What is that product? And I know that we
So
won't dig like deep into it, but just like the elevator pitch for that product.
yeah, no, I mean, look, I mean, it's effectively it's a product that basically insures the assets of a venture capital firm. And while it seems like like a duh kind of thing, there's not really an easy, frictionless way to do it. And so what we've tried to do is like strip that out so that it's very easy for a venture firm to actually engage with us. I mean, that's really the end game for us. If you think about kind of our first kind of foray into bundled space, it was in our technology products. We have a particular bundle called ESP, which is Embroker Startup Program. It's specifically designed for venture-backed startups. And so, we have a huge market share there. And so the venture firms kind of all over the place know of us, know it's easy to work with us, know we put out a great product. whether it's D&O, cyber, EPLI, whatever it might be, and that they can get it in a way that get it from a company that really understands both the venture firm's needs and requirements as well as like that of their portfolio companies. And so it's been, kind of an interesting marriage between that, and we'll continue to support that space as best we can.
This is what I love about insurance. You learn something every day. I've been thinking of a venture capital for 6 or 7 years. I had several dinners with venture capital people when I lived in Berkeley at the beginning of InsurTech, as they were picking my brain about insurance and telling me things like we're going to put State Farm out of business in 5 years. Clearly, things have changed. Never thought of how does a venture capital firm insures itself. So thank you for that. Very, very interesting. Yeah, awesome to chat with you. Look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Anytime.